Diageo Special Releases 2025. What are they going to look like and how excited I am to try each one of them? We're going to find out today. I'm Jeff. This is G Whiskey. Stick around. All right, exciting new releases. This is basically G Whiskey news. I do an episode like this every few weeks or so, and it's pretty much just me talking about upcoming or newly released whiskeys that I'm really excited to try. And today's episode is going to focus exclusively on the Diageo Special Releases for 2025. This is an annual lineup. I think it usually gets released around September or October. Still a few months to go, but we'll be discussing them in advance today. Now, this is a series with a very love-hate relationship with enthusiasts. A lot of people love them because whether you agree with Diageo or not, or you like the company or their policies, they do own some of Scotland's greatest distilleries. Beyond that, this is a cask strength series, which always goes down well, but I think where people take issue is the way these bottles are priced and marketed. These are bottles that a lot of people feel are too pricey for what you're getting, and beyond that, you have these very colorful, elaborate, creative labels, which personally I do think look great, but they're definitely designed to be, I guess the words are marketable and collectible. Now, I do try to not get too cynical about it. I think I've made peace with it. I used to say dramatic things like,
"Oh, I think I might be done with this line. This might be the last bottle I ever buy from them."
no, it isn't. They have Obin and I have self-control issues. I buy like 2 or 3 of these every year. I'm an easy target. Anyway, these bottles are going to pop up in the ascending order of how excited I am about them. And as usual, you guys know the drill. I've got a mystery pour in my glass. Make sure you stick around to the end of the video and I'll share with you what that is. Your hint for today is that this is a Diageo Special Release from 2024. It is gently peated and it's from one of my favorite coastal distilleries. So good luck guessing and let's not waste time. Let's jump into this list. In the meantime, if you'll kindly leave a like down below, that'd be greatly appreciated. All right, kicking things off at number 6, we have Glen Ord 17. Now, Glen Ord often makes an appearance in this series, and the reason I put it at the back of this list is not because I think it'll be bad, I just really don't know what to expect from this one. Now, I do actually like the Glen Ord distillery. They make good whiskey, and here in Asia, the Singleton brand is incredibly popular. You see it everywhere. And while these are typically whiskeys that come in at 40%, they're colored, they're chill filtered, they do have a nice distillery character. So these are not whiskeys that were designed with the enthusiast in mind, which is fine. We are a small corner of the market. We shouldn't expect everything to be, but it is kind of a shame that, at least with the OB line, its wings are clipped, so to speak. I have had a few IBs or independent bottlings of Glen Ord in my time. Typically, these are going to be higher ABV, naturally presented. And of course, like with most whiskeys, that's when the brand really shines, which brings us back to this bottle. This stuff is going to be 17 years old. It comes in at 55.5% and it's finished in ex-mezcal and second fill ex-sherry casks. So definitely some interesting cask choices. Mezcal with Oloroso. I mean, Oloroso is fine. You see it everywhere, but mezcal with Oloroso. I'm not saying it can't work, but I will be trying before I buy, and I don't know if I'll buy. Could be interesting though. Comes in at number 6. So this is Glen Ord 17. Next up at number 5, remember these are ranked in terms of my level of anticipation. I think my number 5 would be a lot of people's number 1. But here's the thing about my takes. They're often quite hot. Anyway, the whiskey is going to be Lagavulin 12, which is a staple. It's a stalwart. We get one every year in the Special Releases lineup, and it usually gets a lot of fanfare and a lot of great positive reviews online. People love these releases, and broadly speaking, I think they're good. I think they tend to be between good and excellent. However, I do think the quality wavers, and I say that as a card-carrying Lagavulin fanboy. Beyond that, you know, you could say this about pretty much any whiskey on this list, but especially with Lagavulin 12s, I'm not convinced they're worth that price tag. I think they're good, but I don't know that they're good enough to warrant what we're being charged for them. Anyway, this year's is 56.5%. It's matured in refill casks and Pedro Jimenez and Oloroso seasoned European oak butts. And honestly, that's a pretty classic recipe. That's a pretty classic peach sherry combo cranked up to cask strength. I bet that's going to be good. So I will say this, from this whiskey up to number 1, I'm genuinely excited to try all of these, this one included. And while I don't get quite as excited as a lot of people out there do about this release, it is still consistently good and interesting, and I'm always keen on trying it. So it comes in at number 5, Lagavulin 12. At number 4, we've got Adal Yuan, which is a brand that does not show up too frequently in this series. In fact, we've only ever had one bottle from them in the Diageo Special Releases before, and that was 10 years ago, and it was 34 years old. I did not try it. Luckily, this year's is going to be younger and likely more affordable. And by younger, I mean 21 years old. And by more affordable, I mean cheaper than that one, but still probably pretty f***ing expensive. This one comes in at 54.3%, and it says it's matured lifelong in Spanish ex-sherry casks, which is a posh way of saying that it's a full sherry maturation, which could work. Adal Yuan is a good brand, and I think it's a brand that deserves more attention. And I don't just mean from the enthusiast, I mean from Diageo themselves. I think they actually have a good enough distillate that if the production's there, they could probably have a pretty solid OB lineup instead of just that one 16-year-old Flora and Fauna release. It is a brand that gets along very well with sherry, so this one being 21 years old, cask strength with a full sherry maturation, it's probably going to be a very interesting pour. And if I didn't expect this to be well outside my budget, I might put it even slightly higher on the list, but I just know that I'm not going to be able to afford this one. It's too bad Diageo doesn't send me those fancy sample boxes. All the other guys get those fancy sample boxes, Diageo. Where's mine? Now, I know sometimes I can be critical and I might say a mean thing or two about you, but that's because you deserve it and you're a naughty little corporation sometimes. Also, if you did send them, couldn't review them, couldn't talk about them. I don't accept things directly from brands, so fine, there's plenty of reasons to not send me those samples, but I really want to try them, and all the other guys get them. Why not me? I'm also an influencer. Anyway, number 4 is Adal Yuan 21. All right, we made it into the top 3. Number 3 is one that I'm likely to buy. I'm not definitely going to buy it. I'm definitely going to buy 1 and 2. Number 3 is likely. This one is a Talisker, and it's actually a little bit older than most of the other Taliskers we've gotten from this lineup so far. This one is 14 years old. I mean, we did get a 15-year-old a few years back. That one was okay, but for the most part, these are usually going to be 8 years old, 10 years old, somewhere in that area. We did have a no age statement one a couple of years back. But yeah, 14 years, good age. This comes in at 53.9%, and our casks are American oak casks toasted by the heat of volcanic rocks from Skye, which is funny. What are the odds? I was just telling my friends this the other day. Rocks from Skye are the only kind of volcanic rocks that I'll accept toasted heat from. I'm very picky about toasted heat from volcanic rocks, and everyone knows that Skye does have the best ones, so good call, Talisker. Still, Talisker is a wonderful brand, great coastal distillate, usually pretty reliable, so this one comes in at number 3. I might pick it up. Talisker 14. All right, as I said earlier, number 2 and number 1 are must-buys. Now, I don't know what the price of these bottles are going to be yet, so I might end up regretting that statement, but I'm super excited to try both of these. Coming in at number 2, we have Rosile 14. I absolutely loved the inaugural release, the 12-year-old, which came out back in 2023. I thought that was an amazing whiskey. In fact, probably one of my favorite finds in recent years. And the 2024 follow-up, which is also a 12-year-old. Not quite on the same level, but still excellent. So the 14 is one I have very high hopes for. I don't know what to expect. This is the oldest age statement we've ever gotten from the brand. The 12 did have a sort of youthful feistiness that I'm hoping is still present in the 14-year-old despite those extra years. But yeah, I don't know how it'll turn out, but I'm sure it's going to be at the very least interesting and probably very good. This has been matured in refill and rejuvenated casks for a complex and layered spirit. I don't know what kind of refill and rejuvenated casks they're talking about. I do hope it's bourbon. Rosile is a very light, bright, delicate, floral style of whiskey, and I think it best suits a lighter cask touch, so a bourbon cask touch. I do hope they go in that direction, but we don't know yet. This comes in at 55.9%, which is perfect, and I gotta say, I've just been very charmed with the whiskey from this distillery so far. Which is a bit funny because this is actually nicknamed Diageo's Death Star, and it's this big, modern, corporate, automated facility. It's kind of like a whiskey factory almost, but I love it. I love the 12-year-old. I've been impressed so far, so really excited for this one despite all that. So yeah, Rosile, 14. Number 1 will be a surprise to nobody who's watched this channel before. It's Obin. This year we're getting a 12-year-old and it's been matured entirely in ex-bourbon casks, which is music to my ears. Obin is a brand that a lot of people think it can take sherry casks, heavier casks. I don't necessarily agree with that. Maybe if it's lighter touch, yes, but I much prefer the stuff that's more bourbon oriented or just gentler on the cask influence. This one comes in at 54.7%, and what's interesting here is that it does seem to be going in a similar direction to that first Obin that we got in 2021. 2021 is when Diageo introduced Obin to the Special Releases lineup. It's been there for, I think, most, if not all of them since. Maybe they skipped the year. Anyway, 2021, our first year, we got a cask strength 12-year-old, refill bourbon matured, and it was phenomenal. In fact, it was one of my favorite affordable special releases of all time. Obviously, I don't want this to be completely identical to the 2021 release. I want it to have its own spin, but with the casks, the age, everything looks like what I want it to be. So again, super excited for this one. You guys knew Obin would be number one. So there we go, Obin 12. All right, that was the list, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. And as always, I want to hear from you. So which of these special releases are you most excited to try this year? And if you want to spice it up a little bit, maybe you could also share some of your favorite Diageo special releases from the last few years. Of course, for me, I got to go with that Rose Isle 2023 and the Obin 2021. Finally, if you stuck around to find out what mystery pour I've got in the glass here, I mentioned earlier that this is a gently peated whiskey from one of my favorite coastal distilleries. I'm guessing a good chunk of you guessed Obin, but it is not an Obin. What I'm drinking here is Talisker 8-year-old. This one is from the 2024 special release lineup, and this is not one that I've reviewed before on the channel. I don't know if I'll get the opportunity to review this. I'll try and squeeze it in at some point, but if I don't, this one is recommended. It's not one of the best releases. It's not one of the weaker releases. It's somewhere in the middle. It's a reliable, nice, solid cask strength Talisker. And that will bring us to the end of the video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. As always, I'm looking forward to reading your comments down below. And if you want to help out, if you want to help with like Patreon or PayPal, I will make sure those are linked down below as well. Patrons over here, wonderful people. And I guess we'll catch you in the next video. Bye, guys.